First of all, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Working in Chinese company, but being a Turkish, I would like to welcome you to our lovely country, Turkey. So welcome to Turkey. And in my speech, I will give you just roughly analyzing of the Chinese market and some of the questions that we mainly have in our mind. I try to clarify that points. But if you have any questions, you are most welcome after my presentation. So I just would like to give you some brief information about group of our company. We are a government company, 51% of the government, and state-owned company. We are the top one. We are the biggest steel trader in China. And also in fuel oil sector, we are top 3 in China. And rubber industry, which we are also producer, we are number 1 in China. And also cotton and Manhattan trade, we are top 3 in China. Those are our warehouse in China, which are 30 warehouse. We are one of the biggest domestic player in China. Our total volume is 60 million ton. And we have 17 overseas offices all over the world. So those are the main offices that we have in the world. So I just would like to start with the Chinese crude steel production and the utilization rate of China. And in 2023, we've been seeing that the China's daily production is 2,480,000 ton daily. And the capacity usage is about 93%. So when we look at that number compared to last year, so we clearly see that in 2022, the utilization rate was about 85, and the daily production was 2,300,000 ton daily. So compared to this year, compared to last year, we clearly see that the utilization rate is increased by 8%. And the daily also production is increased by 122,000 ton, which is referring about 3 million ton monthly. And one of the questions that we've been receiving that the China if it's going to cut down the production, but so far we don't see that the China is cutting down production. Almost we are end of the year, and which we will also give you some figures about also showing that the China is not cutting down the production. Okay, this is the global steel production, and this is the Chinese production, and also global steel production without China. Just we would like to see the figures. Globally, the crude steel production was 1,800 million ton, so monthly about 152 million ton. In 2021. That figure was 159 million ton, which was more than 2022. So when we look at the 2023, we see that the total production of world was 158 million ton monthly average. And when we analyze the China, so we clearly again see in 2022, last year, the production of China was about 1 billion ton. And 1 year before 2021, the total production was 1,033 million ton in China. And the monthly was 86 million ton in 2021, and in 2022 was 84 million ton. And in July, in 2023, in China, we have seen 91 million ton production, monthly production in China. So the average monthly production in China in 2023 was about 90 million ton. So compared to previous years, so we clearly see that the China has not cut down the production, also it's increased the production. So this is the figures of the world still without China. And in 2022, without China, the global production was 822 million ton. Then the monthly 69 million ton monthly production. And also in 2021, it was 73 million ton. And this year, we see that the average monthly production is compared to 2022, 2021 is less than the previous years. So in this chart, we will analyze the export of China. Actually, China is, one of the biggest exporter, but as per their production, the crude steel production, China is only exporting, which is the 5% of their total crude steel production. So if you're talking about the percentage, actually Turkey is bigger than the Chinese. But since the production, we talk about the 1 billion ton, so we end up about 55 million ton yearly. So China in 2022 is monthly, the export quantity was 5.6 million ton. In 2021, is almost same compared to 2022, which is 5.6 million ton. And in 2023, we clearly see that the export of China is increased in the total. And the flat steel export, the flat steel in China is one of the biggest, having the biggest portion of the export, which is about 55%. 55% of Chinese export is a flat steel. So in 2022, the export of the China was about 3.6 million ton. And in 2021, 3.8 million ton. And this year, the monthly flat steel export is a 4.73 million ton, which also clearly shows that this year the export of China for the flat is increased. Long product in China, long product export is not that having the biggest portion, which is about 14% of total Chinese export is a long product. So the China exported in 2022 about 640,000 ton monthly, and in 2021, 647,000 ton monthly, and also in 2023, we see that the 917,000 ton monthly, again compared to previous year, long export of China also increase. So this is the Chinese import, which is the billet import. I mean, compared to since last 3-4 years, we don't see the intention of the China for the import. So China, the mainly that in China, we see the import is coming from CIS, Russian, and as you can see that the figure is not at that much big volumes. In 2022, 144,000 ton billets imported, mainly from Russia. And 2021, we're talking about 786,000 ton only. And this year, average of the billets import in China was only 33,000 ton. And also slab, it also applies to slab as well. The Chinese also import mainly from CIS. And when we look at the figures also, we don't see much the big volume of the slab import. This year, import of the slab was averagely monthly 110,000 ton only. So this is total crude steel production of the global, and referring to some percentage of the global steel production. In 2022, we have seen that about 1.83 billion ton of global steel production. And out of that production, China was producing 1 billion ton about, which is 56% of the total global steel production. The European side, we see that about 7.5%. US is about 5%. And India is about 7%. And Turkey is about 2%, having the global steel production share. Regarding the new steel capacities, unfortunately, we've been seeing some increases in the globally. The main increase that we see is India. Are we going to see any increase in the Chinese side, which we don't believe? There are not much new investment is coming up from China. But as we all know, China, since it's having some restrictions, anti-dumpings, and what we are seeing that the Chinese company, they start to export their technology to the different regions, such as Malaysia, Vietnam, Indonesia. So all the investments, mainly Chinese investment. So Chinese government's policy about the production cuts, so far we don't see. Some of the mills are declaring that they have received already notice from the government cutting down the production, saying that this year production is not going to be more than last year production, but we clearly see that in our presentation that is more than last year production. So in India, we see one of the biggest increase in the production. And last year, their figure about 180 million ton. And till 2030, is 300 million ton. Is more than double. Vietnam, their production right now about 23 to 25 million ton right now. And with the new investment, mainly blast furnaces coming up, 45 million ton. And Iran also, right now their production is about 28, 30 million ton, and the expectation till 2025, 55 million ton. And Malaysia is a new player as well. Right now their production is about 10 million ton. Till 2025, that production is going to be double, which is 20 million ton. Now, one of the main subjects in China, real estates, because Chinese economy is based on one of the biggest industry sector is the real estate, like Turkey. So I would like to also give you some brief information about the real estates and the companies that who is active in the real estate sector in China. And we would like to also show you the value of the company in the stock exchange. So the Chinese government aim right now to make the local market real estate sector more active. So changing some policies, saying that especially in China, some of the states, the people, they were not allowed to buy the second house, but now that status is changed. People is allowed to buy the second house. Then the interest rate for the second house, it came down to 4.2%. In order to attract the real estate, we clearly see that the government is doing their best to make the sector more active. So this year in 2022-23, from January to August, and the construction area and real estate development came down about 7% compared to last year. And residential construction area also came down 7.3%. And also newly housing project also came down about 25%. So those are the recently construction companies that we've been hearing. The biggest real estate company in China. And as we can see, within their 5 years graph, so we see that about 90% the company value came down. And the companies that having the income of revenue about $65 billion. And about 70,000 people are working in that company. This is the biggest construction company in China. The second biggest construction company, we are all familiar with the names, China Evergrande. So when we look at it, their value of the company within 5 years, it came down 97%. The highest was in 2019, it was 27 Hong Kong, and right now is 0.62. So this company is in 2018 was the largest and the most valuable real estate company in the world. And when we look at their also revenue, we're talking about $80 billion. And about 125,000 people are working in the company. So another company relatively is better than the previous ones is a Wanke Overseas Investments Holding. And also we see that 67% their value in the stock exchange also came down as well. So those are the numbers of their revenue, which is about $55 billion. Now, we would like to also give you some price indication compared to our previous IREPAS meeting, which was held in Barcelona. So that's the reason that you can see the date is 8th of May compared to last Friday. So here, I just would like to take your attention. We see the product prices is coming down, but we see that the raw material price is increasing. Such as in May, when we see the iron ore price is $102. Now we are seeing it's about 20% increase, $122. And coking coal, it was 239, now it's 312. And we've been seeing some drop, $10 to $15, depends on the product. But so which unfortunately, which has give us some idea that the producers, they've been losing their profits by paying high costs of the raw material, and unfortunately, they don't have much chance to, to cover their cost even. This is about my presentation. I would like to thank you for listening. So any question that you may, it's going to be my pleasure to reply your question.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Yes, we have one question over there, please.
Thank you, Mr. Ocakçı, for the nice presentation, as always. I'm a little bit concerned with the exports from China, and I might have different views. I mean, I see the statistics that the flat is bigger by absolute number, but I can see that the long has a higher percentage of increase. So it's basically 50%. So instead of exporting like 600,000, they are exporting around 1 million ton. So going forward, how do you see this? I mean, I kept this question to the last presentation, but I put this question for you, for Mr. Alex, for Mr. Roer, because it's quite interesting. I do believe that this is one of the things that we are suffering. For sure, the deglobalization and what we are seeing from US or EU, slowing down the free trade is important, but what China is doing, exporting around 8 million ton a month, is also quite interesting and bigger by far compared with 5 million ton a month. So how do you see this going forward? Are they going to keep the same high levels of exports?
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the question. Actually, it's hard to believe that we are, as Chinese company, also facing a problem to also be competitive on the prices as a Chinese company. It's hard to believe it. And what we see that in Southeast Asia producer, we see that their prices more attractive than Chinese prices. And you all know, sometimes we've been seeing very, very aggressive numbers from China. But we have to be careful about their prices because, unfortunately, which we don't have the official figures, but we all know, everybody knows, living in China, out of China, there are some unweighty businesses. So I don't know how long it's going to take. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we all know that I'm sure Chinese government is going to take some action for that. And that's the reason that this is also reducing our export as well. This is one of the things that we are really seriously facing this problem. And at the end of the day, when we talk about the Chinese market, as you know, the local consumption in China is 95% of their total production, which is 950 million ton. As a country, think about the country that which is consuming 950 million ton. So the exports relatively not that much imported for China, relatively. But sometimes the local market is coming down. Also, we've been facing some problem to sell it to the local market. So, of course, we try to use of the any other opportunity. But I don't think that China is going to come more than 55 million ton export. Because last time in 2006, we have seen 60 million ton export only. Then afterwards, we haven't seen that figures.
Thank you. Actually, I like the way you put the numbers. Well, it may not be that important for Chinese, 50 million tons, but it's important for us. Yes, please.
Just a question on the capacities you mentioned in Southeast Asia, particularly Vietnam and Malaysia. Our understanding is that most of these capacities are actually Chinese transplants and would not be a net capacity addition. Is that a true assumption or not?
It's not going to be,
Net capacity addition. It is not going to be a net capacity addition. It is going to be a transplant of the Chinese capacities.
No.
Okay.
The new investment in Malaysia is not that the Chinese companies transferring their existing capacity. No, they've been producing also in China with their existing mills. They've been rebuilding up another mill. And in our understanding, normally when you make investment, we normally start with rolling mill. Then after 5 to 10 years, we start with the melt shop. But in China or Chinese company, they've been doing the investment directly with the blast furnace and a minimum 2-3 million ton their production capacity.
So this can all be considered as capacity expansion of Chinese steel industry outside China.
Exactly.
Thank you. One more question.
Hüseyin, I've got a few questions, but I would like to have just one input regarding Iran. Iran has got 28-30 million tons annual capacity of crude steel. It's because of the energy cuts. Their installed capacity is 38 million tons. So if they will have electricity in the summertime or natural gas in the wintertime, they can easily achieve their numbers. The question is, do you know the number of the unfinished residential units in China?
I don't have the figure, but we also clearly see in China, unfortunately, some of the construction company, they are not able to finish the project because in China, there is a new management, the new government starting from 2012. And the previous government started in 1990. Starting from 1990, the real estate sector is increased and given some intensive and the credit availability from bank and reaching the money was easier. So that's the reason that we have seen the big booming in the sector. But the current government, they try to cool down the real estate. Starting from 2012 till beginning of 2023. Yes, there are some unfortunately unfinished projects. And we've been seeing some building in the city center since last 15 years.
The reason I'm asking is, it's a huge number. And according to the information I have, despite the stimulus packages, they cannot improve the real estate sector. So in the long segment, coming to the fourth quarter, are you expecting any price improvement in China for the semis and for the finished material?
What we believe that the price drop is already stopped. Because right now we clearly have the figure, the producer has been losing money. So that's the reason, since the raw material price increasing, coking coal price is increasing about 10%, even 15%, because of Iran is very active and they've been importing some coking coal. And we believe in that the price drop is already stopped. And in China, the big traders, whoever made some short sales, they start to close their short sales, trying to buy from the mill, believing that the price is going to increase.
You are also active in the flat segment. Every start of the week, we see that the Chinese flats, say hot rolled coil prices are up. And coming to the Wednesday, then they start to soften. Coming to the fourth quarter, what are you expecting for the Chinese flats? Thanks.
I mean, wherever the countries, whether China, Turkey, Europe, US, Middle East, we have all common problems. The common problem, the basic problem that we have, which is the most important thing, is reaching the finance is not easy. So the interest rate, since the interest rate is increased, and our business is based on the finance. And I strongly believe the reason that we've seen that the hot rolled coil price up or any other product price up on Monday and Wednesday is coming down, because second problem that we have all same is the demand. We don't see the demand. Today, in order to make a business as a trader, I mean, we all know that there are no back-to-back businesses available. So that's the reason that everybody is using their finance to make a business. So the demand is another issue. So I am not expecting also big jump on the prices. But there's not much also the room for the prices to come down.
Thank you very much. I believe, one more question. Okay, this is the last one, Phil.
Thank you. The previous speakers have all covered the subject of carbon, and you didn't mention carbon. China is obviously very dominated by blast furnace. Do you see that changing in the coming years? I mean, I think this is interesting also for the Turkish market, because if there's more scrap that starts to get used in China, which is already a very tight commodity, as Uğur has mentioned and others, you know, this is just going to exacerbate the situation if that happens.
About 1 month ago, there was one conference in Shanghai, and people start to talk about the green steel. In China, the green steel is not the main topic actually, but we've been also realizing that how green steel is important, but converting the production from 90% of the blast furnace into the electric arc furnace, not possible. Even Turkey, I have read it also, one of the report, even Turkey, the production is about 80% for the electric arc furnace. Adjusting the industry into the green steel, we're talking about $10 billion. So I cannot imagine how much is going to be in China. But the domestically, we don't talk even the green steel, which is 5% of the total steel production, which is the export. Yes, China needs to adjust themselves for the green steel. So they've been making some agreement with Australia for the hydrogen contracts, long-term contracts.
Thank you very much. So this concludes the session. Thank you.